Hello everyone, on today's IRS Tax Refund update, we're going to recap the latest with the ongoing backlog of unprocessed tax returns and tax refunds many of you are still waiting on. We'll then take a look at a problem impacting some e-filers who use companies like TurboTax and TaxSlayer when filing their taxes, who are not receiving their refunds even after the IRS has released them. From there, we'll check in on adjusted tax refunds a number of taxpayers are experiencing, and IRS letters being received by those still waiting on their tax refunds. Recapping where things currently stand with the tax return backlog, over 2.1 million tax returns still remain unprocessed as of this point, and that is both e-file and paper returns. The majority of those are e-file returns and those requiring special processing, which stands at 1.6 million, with paper returns at around 548,000. Amended returns are still at 1.2 million unprocessed, and employer tax returns are at another 1.2 million unprocessed, with 511,000 unprocessed amended returns, so all in all, over 5 million returns unprocessed. Now, we're continuing to hear reports from some taxpayers who use platforms like TurboTax and TaxSlayer to e-file their taxes that they're not receiving the direct deposit tax refunds after the IRS has released them. Now, this is an ongoing situation we've been monitoring for the last several weeks, and we continue to. At this time, while there are numerous cases of this happening, the clear majority of e-filers using those two companies are not impacted by this particular issue. At this point, taxpayers expecting larger than average refunds, in addition to those using non-traditional banks like Chime and Green Dot, are the ones experiencing this. Now, TPG, who processes refunds for companies like TaxSlayer and TurboTax, are identifying these larger than average refunds and returning them to the IRS to be sent out as a paper check, which should happen within 4 to 6 weeks after they receive it back, barring any further issue or review. Now, even when TPG releases some of these refunds, these non-traditional financial institutions like Chime are rejecting these deposits as seen by the messages seen here. It appears these larger refunds are triggering red flags, and they're simply returning them to TPG, who in turn will then have to send them back to the IRS. It is advised you use bank accounts with traditional banks or credit unions to receive those tax direct deposits in the future. Staying on the topic of tax refunds, a number of taxpayers are now encountering instances where the refund has been adjusted and they're not receiving what they were expecting. Math errors and entry errors on tax returns are a major cause, and last year over 17 million tax returns had math errors, so it's common. Once the IRS corrects an issue, there could be a refund adjustment as a result, including other issues such as past due child support, state tax obligations, and certain unemployment benefits debt owed previously. We're still hearing from viewers who have their direct deposit refunds sent to a closed bank account and are wondering what is next. Now, if you're impacted by this problem, the bank in question will return the rejected refund back to the IRS, who in turn will send out a paper check to your address on file, usually 4 to 6 weeks after receiving it back. Make sure to check your tax transcripts and locate the 8401 transcript code, which will confirm the IRS has received it back. You also receive a CP75 notice, like seen here, notifying you of the situation as well. Moving on to those notices the IRS has been sending out to taxpayers still experiencing delays, the 60-day notice, also known as Letter 2644C, as seen here, continues to be one of the most commonly received letters from the IRS. It is also common you may receive 4 to 5 of these letters as you continue to wait for your refund. It should be noted that these notices will never explain the cause of your delay. However, if the IRS is still waiting on your employer's or former employer's wage information, it is likely you will receive these in the mail. The second commonly reported IRS notice being received is the CP75 notice. For our viewers still waiting who claimed EITC in particular, it is likely you have or will be sent one of these notices requesting you submit certain documentation in regards to your dependent so the IRS can continue processing your tax return. However, instead of having to mail or fax your paperwork back like in previous years, this is one of the forms in which the IRS will let you upload any requested documentation and it will help reduce your wait time as a result. Also, it is important to note if you don't send back the requested documentation to the IRS that eventually the IRS will close out the audit and not send any part of the refund related to the EITC claim. Last year it was revealed 42% of those claiming EITC who received a documentation request never responded to the letter and were not awarded that part of the refund. Let us know in the comment section below about your ongoing tax refund issue. In the meantime, we'll keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.